Hi, my name is Robert, and I have the remote this week.
Hi, I'm Elissa, and I was forced to watch Bourne Identity.
What were your initial thoughts? Did you? You said you'd never seen it whenever I.
No, I had never
it,
seen
so-
it, and I honestly...
You hadn't even heard of it.
I hadn't
Sorry.
even heard of it. I think I was familiar that Matt Damon was...
In like an action franchise.
Had been in an action franchise, but I'd never heard of it. I'd never seen it. I'd never seen a trailer. I've never seen clips of it or anything. So, when he told me about it, he was like, "You've never seen it?" And I was like, "Or heard of it?" I was like, "No."
I think I was just surprised because there's 5 movies altogether.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like just kind of been like in the zeitgeist for for 20 plus years now.
Right, but you have to remember that I'm not an action movie girl, so I don't go out of my way to watch action movies, period. So I really was not even aware. I knew nothing about it. So I don't know. I think I was just thinking oh no, another action movie.
I think the reason why I wanted to do this one first is because I feel like it's actiony. It has some really good action set pieces, but it's not there. It was written by Tony Gilroy. Well, the books were written by somebody else, but Tony Gilroy wrote the screenplay, and he's a very well established, really talented screenwriter. It wasn't 100% just Fast and Furious action. It has a little plot, has a little drama and intrigue. There's a little bit of mystery because he's got the amnesia and he's trying to figure out what's going on. But I thought it was just a very good first step into the genre because it's not over the top, it's not crazy.
I suppose.
It's a movie I've probably seen a dozen times over the course of my life. Yeah, my mom really likes this movie.
Really?
Weirdly.
Is that why his mother was very surprised I did not know Bourne Identity. She was shocked.
Yeah, and I think she misunderstood the premise for the podcast because when I said, "Oh, I'm making her watch Bourne Identity," she was like, "But that's a good movie." I was like, "I'm not trying to punish her or
Nancy,
anything.
we're not watching bad movies. We're watching movies the other person doesn't want to watch on their own.
Normally, yeah.
Yeah, I wouldn't watch Bourne Identity or the second or third or fourth or fifth one.
I think I view it as I'm trying to get you to like action movies, and I think this was a good one to gauge how amenable you would be to that eventually.
Okay, I can see that.
And I think I found out that I should give up now and just make you watch just the absolute craziest
Worst
things
ones.
I can find.
Well, listen, I will say this. I love, oh my God.
Matt Damon?
No, not Matt Damon. What's the movies and he's a spy?
James Bond?
I forgot. Yeah, I love James Bond movies.
Do you really?
Well, I've seen a couple of them. I think I really like them because they're horny.
Yeah.
That's part of it. It's not only someone on a mission scaling a wall. It's there's hot. Maybe I'm just in it for the hot women. Maybe that's why I like it.
Well, and
Could be that.
I assume you've only seen the Daniel Craig.
Yeah, I
James
saw
Bonds, and he's
whichever one
jacked and hot.
Adele did the soundtrack
Skyfall,
for.
yeah.
Yeah, I saw it with a high school ex-boyfriend of mine and his family, and it was very uncomfortable. But it was a great movie. I liked the movie.
Skyfall's a genuinely really, really good movie.
I really liked that one, yeah.
But it's not the movie we watched this week.
That's not the one that we are talking about today. Okay, here's my quick summary of Bourne Identity with Matt Damon. So basically, there is this... Well, you don't know he's a CIA agent at the beginning. There is an agent of some kind that has been sitting in the ocean, pronounced most likely dead, and a crew of Italian sailors pulls him out of the ocean, and they wake him up and they take care of him, and they find that he's been shot twice in the back, and then he also has some kind of weird capsule that has a hologram or a laser that tells them he has a bank account in Switzerland, I think. So basically the movie follows Matt Damon, otherwise known as Jason Bourne, and other aliases you come to find out, and how he goes from being rescued by these sailors, these seamen, and how he goes from that into figuring out slowly who he is again because he's had amnesia from a mission that he failed as a CIA agent. And it follows Jason Bourne and Marie, this woman who he uses to flee from various locales as he makes his way basically around Europe, trying to escape various people that are trying to kill him, aka the CIA and the government the governments within the different countries that he's located in. Yeah, that's about it. And this is all happening while he's trying to figure out who he is due to the amnesia. And he also has incredible strength and he knows exactly how to kill people, which is great, I guess, if you're into that. And there's a little bit of sex. There's a little bit of hot and heaviness between him and Marie because, of course, there is. It's very small amount. Yeah, but that's really it. And CIA agent with a lot of action shots of him chasing people, shooting people, driving very scary in cars. And that's Bourne Identity, folks.
From watching you watch this movie, I think you have an air of skepticism to action movies.
Yeah, I do.
There's a little bit of disbelief from you throughout which is, fair. They're not meant to be totally believable. I guess, what are your initial thoughts? Like, did you like it more than you thought you were going to? Did you enjoy watching it? Was it like a slog?
A little bit of all of the above. I think I did enjoy watching it more than I thought I was going to, but it was a little bit of a slog. I think for me, what's really difficult with action movies is the degree of suspension of disbelief you have to achieve. Mm-hmm. So there's just so many times where I was like, that would never happen. And obviously you could say the same thing for the romantic comedy movies I like. Mm-hmm. You could definitely use that there, but I think for this it's they have planned out these car chase scenes or these he's scaling the wall scenes, and they're wanting you to just suspend so much of your thought process mm-hmm. in order to think that this could happen.
Yeah.
I guess. So it's kind of difficult for me to get over that while I'm watching it because I'm part of me is just thinking about this wouldn't happen.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I didn't dislike it. I think I did like it, but I don't think I would watch it again.
Fair enough. Yeah. And we'll get into some of that later on when we discuss our nitpicks on the movie. Because I love this movie, but I definitely have a few nitpicks. So
I have a question. When I dislike a movie you really like, does it hurt your feelings?
No, it doesn't hurt my feelings. I think there's a part of me that wants you to really love all of the things that I really love. Mm. But I think there's also we have plenty of overlap as it is. Yeah. And I'm okay with this you watch a lot of TV shows that I would never watch.
That's true.
So I can't be oh, man, she doesn't like the Bourne Identity when you're watching Sex and the City and I'm
okay,
I don't know.
I don't need the listeners thinking that I love Sex and the City. Sex and the City is fine, but it's not good, okay? That's my hot take on Sex and the City. I just watched it because I wanted to say I watched all of it. It was fine.
I wasn't trying to...
You're calling me out.
That's just something I would never watch. But sure. I'm not...
I didn't think I would ever watch it, but I ran out of TV shows.
My mom likes Sex and the City, and she likes Bourne Identity.
It's fine.
People are nuanced.
A woman of the people. That's Nancy.
I guess so.
Shout out to Nancy.
Shout out my mom.
Yeah, but I did like it. It was fine.
Okay.
It was okay.
Good. Do you want to didn't hate it. I feel like we can continue on in this journey.
Yeah, I think so. I didn't hate it. It was entertaining. I will say that. It was entertaining.
Which I think is all it's supposed to be.
Yeah, that's true. I could see that. Did you want to talk about the acting?
Yeah, so let's get into some categories. Our first category is going to be acting.
Yep.
I think, you know, I think it'd be fun to start with the worst performance.
Okay.
Because I think this movie's like really weird in that there's a lot of like really wooden performances in it.
Yeah. A lot of like caricatures of people.
Well, I feel like in a lot of action movies there's a lot of like over the top, like like Tom Cruise in Mission Impossible is like coked out of his mind and insane. But like
Wait, really?
well, he's not technically. I don't know if he's coked out of his mind.
I was gonna say
he's like fucking crazy.
Well, yeah.
But Matt Damon in this,
He was pretty, yeah.
Yeah,
calm.
he's very like some of his lines. I'm just like, where was the emotion, Matt? And then there are other times
Yeah.
where I'm just like, why are you screaming right now?
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah. There were a couple parts where I was like, why is he yelling at her?
Yeah,
That's not gonna help the situation.
and there's something we'll get into later when I give you some like fun facts that I found like looking up the movie that might like explain
like-
some of his woodenness.
Oh, okay.
I think we should talk about
The worst acting.
which, in my opinion, is Julia Stiles in this. I don't know why she's in this movie.
Yeah. I don't know what purpose she served.
All she
really?
says is like, "I can't do anything about the French police."
I
She just
also-
says that like over and over again.
Yeah, but then
doesn't
she
say
also
exactly
that one time she's like, I'm getting the Silite dialed up or whatever, and it happens in like 2 seconds. I was like, I don't think they even had technology that would move that quickly in 2002.
They just like keep cutting to Julia Stiles, and she's like organizing things. Like she's just like a
Viciously typing.
switchboard operator for
Just,
the
like,
CIA, but like it's just like she's there with nothing to do, and she knows it.
Yeah.
She just seems really bored.
Yeah.
And then it's just very weird because I think like almost all of her like scenes she's speaking to Chris Cooper, who plays like the
The head guy.
like the
or whatever.
antagonist, I guess.
Yeah.
And I think he's really good in this. I think he's like he plays a very believable like evil bureaucrat
Yeah.
who like operates somewhat outside of the law.
I did think that was weird. Honestly, who's the agent that dies in the field?
Oh, Clive Owen.
Clive Owen? That's what I thought. I thought he was the worst.
That's so
That
funny.
dying scene was so bad. He just like he just like slowly lays down on the ground and quietly closes his eyes. And like people die with their eyes open all the time. So I was like, why did he need to do
Yeah.
it? It was just like so weird. And it also was like, I honestly did not hear. I think for some reason we watched this movie in parts because I got sleepy, okay? And the second half we watched without closed captions on, and I have no idea what he said as he was dying. I like legitimately no clue what he said.
I think he just tells Matt Damon like he's just like
Trying to warn him, I guess.
no, I think he's just telling Matt Damon like, oh, this is who we are. This is I don't remember exactly
Well, I
what he
missed that
told.
completely, so he needs
I
to
mean,
work on his elocution, I guess.
It's an action movie. There's no
His enunciation. Yeah, I thought that was the worst. I mean, he was like
I mean, he's in the movie
he
for
was
3 minutes. It's not
fine. I mean, but yeah, he was another one where I was like, what purpose did that serve? You already know that people are after
Yeah.
Jason Bourne. Like, why did he, like, I don't know.
Well, we both started cracking up when he died.
Oh, yeah. It was
'Cause
hilarious
so
to
funny.
Because it was
Yeah.
so bad. He just, like, slowly lays into the grass. He might as well have just, like, died in his arms, to add a little extra drama.
Yeah. Well, and to me, it looked like, I mean, we're getting into nitpicks, I guess, but, like, it looked like he was just, like, shot in both of his arms, and then he died from that.
Yeah, it
which I
didn't
was
look
kinda
like he got shot anywhere that would have, like,
Yeah. it was
quickly
really weird.
killed him.
But that's so funny that you thought he was the worst acting.
You thought he
because-
was the best?
No, our next category, which is, like, our best, like, or our favorite, like, side character,
Yeah.
is Clive. That's
For
me.
you.
I love that scene. That's my favorite scene in the movie.
Where he dies?
The scene where like they're in the farmhouse and all of a sudden Matt Damon's like, does the dog not come back
Oh, yeah,
often?
yeah.
And the dad's like, Mrs. Breakfast, no way. Matt Damon's like, get in the fucking basement.
You also, I think, in conversations within the movie and while we were watching the movie, you have said, oh, and this part was one of my favorite parts. Probably like 6 times, I think.
Yeah, I love this movie. I love a lot of action.
It's so funny. Well, I think I did like when I didn't understand why he shot the gas tank. I had to ask you. I was like, why did he do that?
Because it's funny because he just comes out of the house and just fucking shoots it.
I know, it's like he I mean, I guess, like, that's his whole thing, is he knows inherently what to do in a scenario because he's been trained so much, but
yeah.
I was like, what the fuck was that for? I thought it was cool, but also I'm like, what a waste. But I don't know.
It's a lot of gasolina.
A lot of gasolina. Yeah, but that was funny. I don't know. But you liked the chase scene where they're like running in the woods. I think that could have been half as long as it was. It was funny, but
really, I feel like I could watch a 2-hour movie of just them two playing cat and mouse.
It made me disoriented. It made me kind of dizzy. Like the way the trees were like passing. Yeah. It was like, ugh.
Yeah.
They also, like, I think sped up a couple of the times when he's like running or something.
Yeah, I think they do that throughout the movie. Like they like mess with the frames per second that they're shooting at.
So for my best non-main characters, otherwise known as supporting actors, I actually put Julia Stiles. I thought it was kind of funny that she was, like, I know what you meant, like, she didn't really serve a purpose in the movie, but I didn't think she was bad. I mean, I think she was good for being as young as she was in the movie.
That's
like,
so
she looked
funny,
like she was, like,
we literally, like,
flip-flopped.
Yeah, your favorite and my favorite were each other's worst.
That's funny. I thought she did a pretty good job. Yeah, again, what you said, I don't really think she served a purpose, but I thought she did pretty well. I think that I really liked Eamon.
Yeah, he seems like he like came in and like understood his role.
Yeah.
And was like, he seemed like somebody you would meet in real life. Whereas, like, I feel like everybody else in the movie is very
not real.
Like, yeah, it feels like they're reading scripts. He like had like a humanity to him. Maybe that's because he was the only like person in the movie.
Yeah, I think it was that, and then I also, like, it felt believable to me that he had dealt with Marie before and her bullshit. Like, I was like, oh, he's so sick of her. Like, he's so over her.
And by that time in the movie, I'm over her. I'm like, oh my god. Quit saying you're gonna leave and then deciding not to and then getting mad at him.
That was a lot of back and forth.
You knew what you signed up for.
I'm also like, you had sex. Well, I'm sure they had sex more than once, but from what we know, they had sex one time. I'm like, it had to have been the best sex of your life to risk all of this shit again and again. He's fucking throwing you in a high-speed chase in a car.
Yeah.
He's shooting a gas tank 200 feet away from you. Like, shooting people right in front of you.
Yeah.
Your pictures everywhere. Just a little chaotic.
Yeah.
Not a great first date, I'll say that.
What would you say, was there a scene in the movie that you did, like, really like?
I mean, obviously I really liked the scene where they cut her hair, and then they...
No, is that the same scene they have sex?
Yeah, I think so.
The next one.
Wait, is it? I don't remember. I thought it was. I thought they, like, cut her hair, and then they, like...
Yeah, because I think they fuck, and then then the next day they do the hotel thing where she goes into the hotel.
Yeah. I think my favorite was probably the hair cutting scene, just because, like, that was, like, really the only time you, like, see those two characters connect at that level, I feel like, which is really silly because they're, like, in a car the entire time together, but you don't, like, get to see them having a normal conversation. So I really like that scene, and obviously the fact that they made out. Yeah, and obviously I like that scene because they have sex, and that's the only time that you get to... But you don't even, like...
There's no sex scene.
No, which is fucked up.
Just heavily implied that they...
That's so stupid. They kiss... Well, okay, they have the alternate ending where they kiss at the end of the movie, but in this version of the movie, they did not kiss at the end, which was also fucked up.
Yeah, they just, like, nuzzle necks.
She just goes... Ah. And they keep hugging. They hug, like, 3 times. I'm like, where's the action?
I think the ending might be my least favorite scene.
Yeah, stupid.
It's, like,
stupid
really
ending.
cheesy in a movie that really... Like, it has moments of cheese, but, like, that ending is so cheesy. It just feels really out of place.
Pointless. Like, I feel like I would have wanted them to see each other, but, like, I feel like maybe if they, like... If you see him, like, going up to an apartment somewhere and she's, like, in the apartment...
Yeah.
Or something. Like, I feel like him going all the way to Mykonos to see her in the shop that she's working at is just, like, so silly. I'm like, he would have found another bitch by now.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I guess I really liked the haircutting scene. I thought the car chase scene was cool. But at the same time, I think they reused some of the shots of them in the car. I could have sworn
you said that, but I didn't notice that. But I believe you.
I could have sworn there was a shot of her like reacting that they used twice.
I know they went over budget because
it's a $60 million budgeted movie. Did you see that?
No. Well, I didn't know what the specific number was, but yeah.
How do you go over budget for that? That's insane.
Apparently, they had a bunch of rewrites on the screenplay.
Oh.
So they had to keep going and reshooting, supposedly.
Oh, I see. Well, I guess I know action movies cost a lot of money, but they end up making a lot of money. So they made like 200 mil or something.
Yeah, people love action
movies.
Which is
crazy. That's just so crazy to me.
Think about how many dude bros just go to...
How many dude bros? You gonna go see Bourne Identity, bro?
Bro, we gotta go watch Fast 7 again, dude.
For the third time
I haven't felt that alive in months, bro.
It's the best movie I've ever seen in my life.
Not since we were playing JV football, bro.
Truly, in middle school.
With that, should we get into some nitpicks?
I'd love to.
Yeah, I'll let you take the floor, and I'll fill in any gaps that I think you have. But I feel like you're gonna be pretty thorough.
I think so. Well, I'm also gonna talk about some of the worst moments, which I think is nitpicking. Some of the worst moments. So there's one part towards the beginning where he gets to the. Did they go to Germany first? Switzerland. He goes to Switzerland first.
Yeah,
where he gets dropped off the boat.
Dropped him off in Switzerland.
Okay, when he gets dropped off the boat and he's like running and it's supposed to look like he's vanishing into the city, and Robert pointed out to me that he'd seen on a TikTok, you can see him running beside this tiny little truck. And when you said that and I saw it, I was like, this is not gonna be good.
Yeah, you can just see
you can see him like hunched
sweater.
over, like running behind this truck.
Yeah.
And I guess like technically speaking, if Robert hadn't pointed it out to me, I probably wouldn't have noticed it, but he did, and I was like, oh, that's pretty bad.
Yeah.
Like, surely they would have had one take where you couldn't see him and they just were like, whatever, let's just use this one.
I feel like that's one of those things where, like, they're not really, especially back then, if it was filmed in, like, 2000, 2001, like, they probably were not expecting anybody to, like, ever be able to just, like, rewind and rewatch it.
That's
over
true.
And over again, maybe.
Well,
and it's definitely something, like, if it's not pointed out to you, you don't see it.
Yeah, that's true. So like I said towards the beginning of the pod, there's just a lot of things you have to suspend your disbelief for. Is it suspend your belief or suspend your disbelief?
Suspend your belief.
Oh, I've been saying disbelief. That doesn't make any sense. Okay.
We'll edit that out.
Suspension of... I thought it was Okay, whatever.
If you're suspending your disbelief, then that means you're believing it.
Okay, so suspension of belief then. There's just so many things that happened during the movie where I was like, that would never happen. Which, I know is silly. But I think, like, when he was in the embassy and he's fucking shooting at everyone in the embassy and then he goes outside and he just scales the wall and gets down the building and there's no one on the outside of the building.
Yeah, that's pretty rough.
That was so dumb.
Yeah.
I was like, first of all, I'm sure the guards are smart enough to know that someone would, like, probably not scale the wall, but would somehow get to the outside of the building and then get down the building. So they would have people outside. And I also think they would have people outside, period. But I guess I'm thinking post 9/11 brain, but...
Yeah, I think the way they would explain it is that it was like he was in the embassy. So, like, the French didn't have jurisdiction within, and the U.S. didn't have jurisdiction without.
Right, but I still think they would have had someone out there. Either side would have someone out there. Well, yeah. They also... Well, think about it this way. They also had... The Paris guards, or whoever, was going after him as he was going into the embassy, so why wouldn't they be outside the building waiting for him to get out?
Yeah. Speaking of that scene, one nitpick I have is that Marie is, like, right there at the counter.
Yeah.
When Matt Damon's, like, turning to run, because the guy is like, you with the red bag! And then when they're outside, she's like...
just leaving.
She doesn't, like... Well, she's just leaving, and she doesn't, like, recognize that that's him when he has, like, a very noticeable red bag.
Yeah.
And I feel like if somebody shot up an embassy you were in, you would, like, be like, oh, that's
the guy I need to run away from quickly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would also be like, oh, I'm not going to accept any accept any stranger in my car right now. Mm-hmm. But, I mean...
Yeah.
The money was too good.
That's true. Well, I will say this. That's also incredibly funny to me that, like, I guess in that time period, it's like, oh, this guy's giving me $20,000. I'll do whatever he wants. But, like, I feel like in this day and age, if a guy asked me to drive him somewhere for $20,000, I'd be like, that is a terrible first date. No, I don't want to do that with you.
I would do that in a heartbeat. If it
No.
was 2,000, I would do it.
That's okay. I mean, I think the character is a little dicey. Like, you don't really hear exactly what she's been up to, but she does, sketchy. Do some interesting things to survive, which no judgment in that, but it's just funny that she's that willing. But I just think about, like, as, like, looking at the romantic plot, I'm like, this is hilarious. That, like, now she's attracted to him. Like, that doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
Also, like, him saying that he has amnesia and, like, doesn't remember anything and how long it takes him to say that. You don't know how long they've been in the car, but it's probably been a couple hours. And I think that's so fun. I think about that part, and I'm like, that also sounds like something a man would say to get in bed with a woman. Do you know what I mean?
Yo, like, I can't remember. Could you remind me how to fuck?
Yeah, I don't remember anything. And I haven't had sex in the last 2 weeks, so I don't remember how to do it.
Come on, baby. You're gonna leave me with blue balls. I remember that.
I'll remember that forever. But yeah, I think that's so weird that...
Yeah.
I mean, it's not weird. I shouldn't say weird. I just think that's funny. Like, looking at it from, like, the romantic plot point, it's like, really? It works for her? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, girl. I think in this day and age, it would not. Another nitpick, I think it is absolutely hilarious when he is shooting at the guy that swings into the apartment. Mm-hmm. She is standing in the line of fire the entire time. Like, don't get me wrong. I think if I was in that scenario, I would also probably be incredibly shocked and surprised. I would not stand in the hallway and watch. Especially not for a man I've known for 2 days.
That's
a
fair.
day.
If I was fighting an international assassin and I too was an international assassin, I would hope you stood and watched.
At this point, now that we've been together for 3 years?
At any point.
Oh, you would expect me to stand in the hallway behind a man with a machine gun while you fought him with a pin? While you fought him with a ballpoint pen?
Hey, he got the job done.
Yeah, it was disgusting. I don't want to ever have to see that again in my life. The way
he rips it out.
I gagged out loud. I gagged out loud when he stabbed the guy with the pin and when the guy pulled the pin out. Like, absolutely disgusting. So gross. I don't want to have to see that again. Yeah, I just think, like, there are, like, so many small little things that
I think if we let
I could keep talking about.
Yeah, I think if we let you, like, run away with the nitpicks, that would be the whole podcast.
No, that's really all I have.
We'd be like, our second episode, it's a 3-hour-long mega podcast about...
Elissa complaining. Yeah. That's what podcasts are for. But that's really all I'll say. I think it was really hilarious watching her stand. Like, you just keep seeing the shots, and she's literally just standing in the background. Like, that was so funny. Like, within feet.
Should we move to a positive and go our favorite line of the movie?
Sure.
There are a lot of, like, pretty solid lines in this because Tony Gilroy is a really talented writer. And what stuck out to you? I'm betting we went in very different directions. You know?
I'm sure we did. I think the line I liked when he went, they're in the car and he's going up to the apartment and she's like, oh, well, you're just gonna forget about me. And he's like, how could I forget about you? And then there's a pause and you're like, oh. And then he goes, you're the only person I know.
She seemed really like, that's so hot.
She's like, wow.
And I would be like,
I was like, no,
okay, subtle dig there. All right.
Yeah,
Are you like, negging her? What is that?
Yeah, I'm like, is that a compliment? Like, that is so...
I showed her my value and then I negged her.
I just thought that was funny. I was like...
We both laughed at that.
I did, but I liked the writing. I was like, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
You're the only person I know. And he says it like so... Like,
so
he says the first part like in kind of like a sweet way, and then he says the second part, he's like, you're the only person I know. And there's like... there's nothing. There's nothing happening. That was mine. What about yours?
I love when he like finally confronts the like CIA guy in the... like base in like their little like base of operations and he's like asking the guy over and over again, who am I, and then the guy calls him a malfunctioning $30 million weapon. You're a total goddamn catastrophe.
That's pretty good.
That's pretty good. And Chris Cooper delivers that so well.
He did, yeah.
I'm like, man, I felt a little insulted there. You're a goddamn fucking catastrophe.
You're a goddamn fucking catastrophe.
Yeah, I just really like his delivery. That
yeah,
line.
that was I liked that one.
That one, like, I always look forward to that moment in the movie.
I really also just think it's entertaining that if Jason Bourne would have just found a way to communicate to anyone that he has no idea what's going on, things could have been sorted out like so much.
You said that, but I don't think they would have believed him.
Well, they didn't believe him when it happened at the end anyways. So it's like, why wouldn't he have tried? They've just taken out all of the vulnerability out of this poor man.
Yeah, that's true. I mean,
he's ashamed. Also, how would he? So he's like ashamed of not. He's ashamed of not telling people. He's ashamed that he doesn't know anything. But he's so ashamed he doesn't tell anyone except for Marie. And then I guess at the end. I'm like, what? How would you remember?
If he's ashamed or if he just doesn't think people will believe him.
Yeah, I guess.
I don't know. Yeah. It's pretty weird.
Well, I do think we didn't talk about Matt Damon's performance. I thought Matt Damon did great.
I thought he was really good in moments. I think he is a great action star. I think he's... And I can't imagine another actor in this role, which does bring us to a few fun facts. But, like, a few of the lines that are, like, really wooden throughout, apparently they were filming a lot of these scenes in the winter.
Oh.
And his costume...
was too thin.
So, like, he was, like
freezing
when he was delivering the lines, he was, like... yeah. And he was, like, his mouth was numb, so he, like, wasn't enunciating.
Oh.
So they had to go back and dub over his
that's interesting. Okay.
His lines. So that's kind of why some of the lines sound very like read off a page, because it probably literally was in a sound booth. Do you want to guess who the original like actor that was offered the role was?
That's not Tom Cruise.
No.
Oh my God, Brad Pitt?
Yes.
Really?
Yeah. Yep. Brad Pitt was originally offered the role.
I couldn't see him playing it, but I could see them thinking about him.
He turned it down to do I think a Robert Redford movie.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but it was also I don't know how accurate any of this is. This is just, like
hearsay.
a BuzzFeed article I found online.
Oh, yeah.
It said that Arnold Schwarzenegger, Tom Cruise, and Russell Crowe were also considered.
Yeah, I couldn't.
But Matt Damon ended up getting the role because he was interested in the plot as well as the action.
I couldn't see anyone. What you said. I couldn't see anyone else playing it.
Yeah.
I agree with you that he was wooden in some parts, but I think overall he did a pretty good job. I just wish he would have had his shirt off more.
That's fair. He would. I mean, he's at some point we will watch Talented Mr. Ripley, because I think that's the movie that he is hottest in.
Oh, absolutely.
But he is very hot in this movie. Yeah. Just lean cut muscle.
He's hot. He's just hot.
Goddamn fucking catastrophe.
Goddamn catastrophe.
If we could give the movie one Oscar, what do you think it would be for you?
I literally went through all the Oscar categories and I was like, I guess best actor? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't think it's really like a...
I think he'd just be nominated. I don't think he would win.
I said best editing or maybe screenplay.
I thought about editing, but the truck thing got me and I was like, no.
That's fair. Yeah. Yeah, I just think the movie does such a good job of making you feel his paranoia. And that was true. Like 100% the editing and the score.
Yeah.
Would you watch this movie with your parents?
Sure.
I have, so.
I think I would probably like get on my phone if I had to watch it again. I would get kind of bored, no offense.
Yeah, there's no real big... Yeah, I'm not offended by that.
I mean, I'll watch it, but like, I would...
If I wasn't watching it with you, I would have been on my phone.
I think my parents would have liked it. Well, you've also seen it 12 times.
Yeah, that's true. So. I think, like, the only movies I've been really uncomfortable watching with my parents are, like, movies with a lot of like,
sex.
Not even sex, just, like, full-on nudity.
Yeah, that's always weird.
Yeah.
I think sex is weird, too, especially when there's a lot of noise. Like, when it's like,
Yeah.
You're like, oh, please. I gotta get out of this room.
Our trademark pending horniness meter, I gave it a 2 out of 5.
1 out of 10.
I give it 2 out of 5 just because there are moments where they are, like, so horny for each other, and I'm just like...
No, they're not. When are they horny for each other?
They look at each other like they want to fuck several times.
But they
throughout the movie.
don't. You don't get to see them fuck.
I know. That's why they're horny. They're not acting on it.
I didn't get
A
that.
2 out of 5 is pretty low. I feel like a 1 out of 5 would be like a
I did a 1 out of
children's
10.
movie.
A 1 out of 10. That's really bad.
That's pretty bad.
Well, I just think they had one hot makeout scene. That was all you saw.
Hey, that's more than Pride and Prejudice.
Yeah, but Pride and Prejudice, but Pride and Prejudice is like, they can't.
The whole movie is about how badly they want to fuck.
Do you know what I mean? Exactly. But they can't yet. Because then they would both get in trouble. So, like, but this is like, they had every opportunity. They were with each other for, what, a couple of weeks or something? A week?
If that. Maybe like
If that?
5 days.
But they could have fucked more at any time, and they chose not to, and it's upsetting.
Maybe Matt
Well,
Damon.
they probably did, but oh my god. And the part where she's sleeping in the twin bed at the little farmhouse and he sleeps on the floor.
Like the dog he is.
That's so stupid. If you guys really have the hots for each other, you would have snuggled up on that. It's also probably cold, and he's gonna sleep on the floor. He didn't even put a pillow down. He just was like, "I'm gonna sleep on the floor," and just like plop down.
Yeah.
I don't know. I was disappointed. You told me there was a little bit of horniness, but like this was severely lacking for me, especially with how hot Matt Damon is, and Marie and her cute little bob. She could get it.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Maybe Matt Damon forgot how to fuck. Maybe he forgot how to be horny.
Well, apparently he remembered good enough for her to stick by his side while he's getting shot up 6 times.
She's just like, the dick was so good.
The one time, the one night, the one hot makeout.
If I get a bullet in me, it's fine. Because I got Matt Damon in me. All
Did
right.
you learn any life lessons from this movie, Robert?
I think the only one I could really think of was maybe don't keep a bunch of secrets from your boss if you're in the business of killing people. Because he'll just kill you at the end, which happened to the CIA boss.
That's true.
Brian, especially if your boss
That's
is Brian
true.
Cox. Like,
Especially, oh my god,
don't
if
keep
Brian
anything
Cox
from
is in a
Brian
movie,
Cox.
run.
He finds out.
If he's your boss anywhere, run.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What about you?
I just
Anything?
like don't be a CIA agent.
That's fair. Yeah. That's just good. Don't be law enforcement in general, I guess.
Yeah, that's true. And also, just explain your truth. Explain your truth, because maybe if he would have explained it sooner, a lot of innocent people would not have been killed.
I'll let you die on that hill. I'm not going to climb up there with you.
Okay, great.
I don't think he would. I think they would have killed
I
him
think
either
he
way.
could have figured it out somehow. I don't know.
Do you have any?
I was gonna
Any
ask if
hot
you
takes?
Had any hot takes? I don't have any.
I think Marie should have either died in this movie, or she should have gone with Eamon or whatever his name
She
was.
did go with Eamon.
I know, but they should have just stayed away. I think Jason going and finding her at the end was a pretty selfish thing.
That's true, because he's putting her life at stake.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is true. I didn't think about that.
It's like, okay, Matt Damon, you're pretty hot. You can go find.
You can go find someone else.
Yeah.
Let Marie live her best Mykonos, Greece lifestyle.
She was his first post amnesia, so
Oh
she's
my
just
god,
got a
do you
special
think,
place in
wait,
his heart.
do you think it's like...
Was Matt Damon a verge before
That's
he?
what I was gonna say, like, do you think having sex again was, like, insane to him? Because he didn't remember, like, at that point, he didn't remember what having sex was like. Do you think it was just, like, mind-blowing? But his body remembered.
I mean, I'm sure it was.
His body probably remembered. His brain just
As soon
didn't
as he starts fucking, he's like, "Oh wait, I remember what I'm doing."
I know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Thank you for the demonstration, Robert.
Yeah. In case people didn't know,
If anyone doesn't know, this is how you have sex. Yeah, that's a good point. I didn't think about that.
would this movie be better as a romance? I think
Yes.
it could have been better with more romance.
Yeah, I think that's true. I think because they spent an insane amount of time on their relationship, but it's just them arguing.
Yeah.
Marie, I really think you should leave. I think you should get out of here, and I think you should get away from me and get as far away from me as possible. That's like a third of the movie.
And then she's like, "No, I could never leave you." And then in the next scene, she's like, "You're a monster.
yeah,
How can I stay with you?"
And they're yelling at each other. I'm just like, just fuck. It's fine.
Yeah.
I think it could be better if there was a little bit more romance.
Yeah. All right. So let's get into our final scores.
Okay.
What would you give this?
A 2.
Wow.
I thought it was fine, but I don't really want to watch it again.
I have to say, your like overall thoughts have been a little surprising to me based on how you were when you were watching it, because it did seem like you were into it when you were watching it. But
I was
think,
into it, but I just don't.
Yeah, it just doesn't
I don't
click for
feel like
you.
I need to watch it again. I think I would maybe watch the second one or the third one, but I don't really.
Okay.
I don't really want to.
I give it a. It's not a 5 for me. I do like this movie, but it's not one of my like top 10 favorite movies ever. I thought it would be a good entry point. I think I'll give it a 4. I do really like this movie. I've seen it a bunch of times, but I've mostly seen it a bunch of times just because it's one of those movies that, like, if I have 2 hours to kill, and I probably watched it more times, like, before I was 18. I've probably seen it, like, 2 or 3 times since I was 18. But I watched it a ton of times when I was, like, a teenager.
Yeah.
Do you think you would... Sorry if you hear a little growling in the background. Milo's adding a little ambiance.
Yeah, thanks, Milo.
Would you recommend this to other people who have your sort of taste? Like, would you recommend them give this a shot?
No.
No, that's fair.
It is very action heavy, and there's not a lot of levity to it. It is, like, pretty intense.
Yeah. There's not a lot of comedic breaks.
No, I don't really think there's any, really.
Yeah.
And, like, that's just not really the movies I'm into, so if I knew someone had a similar taste to me, I don't think I would recommend it.
That's fair.
Unless they were like, hey, I've really been meaning to watch an action movie lately. I would maybe recommend it, probably because it's the most recent one I've watched, and I don't really watch
recent one I've seen.
I don't really watch any, so.
Do you still respect my taste?
Yes, I respect your taste.
It's gonna be funny when we get to the point where you're like, no, fuck you. You have the worst taste.
That's probably gonna be when you make me watch like I don't know, some kind of ridiculous action movie. Don't give me that look.
I don't think there's anything too crazy that I would ever make you watch.
I hope not. Thank you all so much for listening to Fighting Over the Remote. If you don't mind leaving us a review and a rating wherever you get your podcasts, and also following our social media, which will be linked in our Spotify, and wherever you're listening.
We release a podcast every week, so please join us next week as we discuss
50 Shades of Grey.
No.
Hell yeah.
This is actually the last episode. So sorry, everybody. So sorry to drop that bombshell on you, but we're actually going to end the podcast here.
Can't wait to hear
it's been a good ride. Thank you guys so much.
Your thoughts and feelings about 50 Shades of Grey, Robert. Catch you guys next time.
Catch y'all next week.